Call to order the Catawba County Board of Education regular meeting for June 23rd of 2025. First, we'll recognize a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Goforth. So we'd all please rise for the moment of silence. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 meeting. You all have a copy of. Are there any questions or comments? If there are none, I seek a motion and a second for approval of 3rd, 2025 meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Here a second. Here a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in approval, raise of hand. That is unanimous. Next is the adjustment approval of the agenda.
Chairman Settlemeyer, members of the board, a couple of things. First is we would like to add public comment. We inadvertently left that off, so we'd like to put that on there. Also, the superintendent's report, we'll add operations report under mine this time. And then correction to new business number 7, some change orders for the elementary HVAC at Claremont and Balls Creek. And those are change orders, not change directives that Mr. Moore will speak to. And then lastly, if needed, after Ms. Davis has the opportunity to talk through policies, we would add new business number 13 at the end of closed session.
Thank you, Dr. Stover.
Mr. Chairman, I think also you and I communicated a little earlier today. I had emailed asking about, I think you had intended to make some public comment yourself or something after public comment regarding the whole merger issue. Just bring us up to date on what's known.
Yes, ma'am, I was going to do that before public comment.
Okay, should we add that to the agenda as well?
We can.
I make a motion that we add that then. You want to do it after public comment? Is that where you want it placed?
I would like to do it before.
Before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I make the motion then that we add that, the chairman's comments about the merger issue, information on that prior to public comment.
I second.
Hearing a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, a show of raised hands for approval. That's unanimous. Thank you. Next on the agenda is superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chairman Settlemeyer.
Did you,
Oops, sorry.
all of the adjustments need to be approved in addition to the one? Did she, I don't think she included all the adjustments in her motion. Dr. Barnett?
Okay. I look for a motion and a second for the adjustments 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'll make a motion to make adjustments for 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, a show of raised hands for approval. That's unanimous. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Dr. Stover's superintendent report.
Yes, we have been waiting a long time to recognize our archery winners, and tonight we are going to have the opportunity to meet our winning coaches and our winning students from our elementary schools, our state champions. And so, if you would like me if you would meet me out front, and we'll be able to recognize our students and coaches who are with us this evening.
Gotcha, yeah, okay. Yep. So they're coming with yeah, just come up here. Thank you. Appreciate your patience, thank you. I'm gonna do Ball Street first. Yeah, just hang tight like that. All right. Good evening. Thank you for your patience. So, good evening, board, Chairman Settlemeyer and Dr. Stover. Tonight, I want to recognize some special guests with us, and we're going to look at some outstanding archery performances this year. So first, I want to congratulate Adeline Simmons. So Adeline, if you'll come up. Where you at, Adeline? Adeline is from Balls Creek. She's a rising sixth grader. And she won first place in the individual bullseye state tournament. So Adeline, congratulations. I'm gonna have you go up with the board, okay? All right. Yeah. And here's some. You come on up with her. Thank you. So Balls Creek Elementary Archer team's coached by Madison Walker and Kim and Darren Waugh, who are with us tonight. All right. Go ahead, Marty, if you'll go ahead and get a picture with them. All right. Congratulations, Adeline. All right, so next up, we're going to recognize Startown Elementary, their archery team. Startown has a long history of, let's call it, dominance in archery in this area. This year was no different, so I believe you're still undefeated in all North Carolina tournaments you've placed in.
No,
Oh, no.
yeah, we actually got beat by Drexel.
Okay.
But, it got pretty competitive, and we had a really young team. We had to do a rebuilding, basically, so.
Listen, no excuses for winning
Yeah, about,
six state championships in a row. I mean, you know what? I mean, this is their sixth consecutive state championships.
We had about 65 to 70% of our team was fourth graders. So, we definitely, will be ready for next season, which, kind of took the wind out of everybody for next season. They know what's coming.
That's right, yeah.
So this is Coach Warren, also Laura Warren and Jennifer Irvin are the coaches. So I'm gonna have your certificate right up here, okay? Grab when you're finished. So let's recognize some archers, I guess? Archers, there we go. So we'll start with fourth grade. We've got Bergen Williams. Come on up, bud. We got Eben Vang. Eben, come on up, buddy. Here, I'll just shake your hand. That won't be right. And Fallon, right? Fallon Pennington. Fallon. Lingerfeld. So Grayson Lingerfeld. Peyton. Peyton Sinclair. Sadie. Sadie Elliott. Good job, Sadie. Victoria. Victoria Ruffty. Cool. Right. Anzil De La Torah. There we go. You Hudson. Hudson Bill. You Logan. All right. So Logan, a little extra, put him at the end because he won first place overall in the 3D state championship. All right, and also Logan Warren and Hudson Bill qualified for Worlds and competed very well there too. So that's huge to be able to do that.
Hudson actually came in sixth place for the world tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys will come up. We'll get a big group picture. Here you go, Coach. Take y'all's. Davey. All right, again, this is Startown. They won first place in Bullseye and the 3D state tournament. So congratulations, Startown. All right, yeah, you just went ahead right around. Thank you.
Congratulations, Startown, Balls Creek, Miss Stodden, and all of our parents. Thank you all for being here. All right, at this time, Chairman Settlemeyer, members of the board, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Moore. He's going to do our construction report, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Building's done now. Now we have to get the bus drawn. That's the bus parts drawn. That's from a higher vantage point looking down to the school. Upgrading some recreational fields from that view, that's sort of looking back towards the Progress is coming along, and, we have fun there. If that is not part of the plan, we have to get that graded smooth. That will actually be track and soccer field as well. We're partnering with the Navy to provide light, provide heat, giving you the all major middle schools, and so this project is huge. Again, I'm very impressed with BDI, they work together with the architect, all of the this is very much swimming pool with over that need and things started first. So the old entrance to the school, where you're looking with the demolition on the right-hand side, you're testing, if you were standing roughly at the entrance to the media center on the right hand, cafeteria on the left hand, that's what you're looking at. Okay? That will be a new security vestibule that's on the 60 minutes. I have one, three, specified. And what you're seeing is a lot of overhead work. Long stack building has had several wings, additions time to time. Roof structures different, requires different forms of mitigation things through rooftop units itself. More of that demolition work. There's why. So again, we're very, very pleased with progress. Can't say enough how much I appreciate what is point. I'll be happy to answer these questions you may have. Problems, have something in it. Something that I can't answer.
It looks good. Thank you, Mr. Moore. All right, next is public comment, but no one has signed up tonight. So I'll go ahead and just tell you what I've been told or heard about the merger. I guess about a week ago, maybe a little more, the county commissioner spoke with the Newton Conover Board of Education about a possible merger with Catawba County. They had a meeting with their principals Thursday. And then Friday, myself and Dr. Stover had a meeting with Randy, the county commissioner chair, and Mary, the county manager. They told us what their plan was for the merger, or they told us about a merger and a possibility of a merger with Newton Conover and Catawba County. The next week, the Newton Conover School Board met. They had several folks get up and speak about saving their school system, keeping it independent from ours. Later that evening, the commissioners had their own meeting, and at this point, last I heard, they're still conducting research into a merger, so there's no set path towards a merger of between us and Newton Conover at this point, from what I understand. That's what I know at this point.
I think, aren't they having a town hall meeting? A town hall meeting? Are they scheduled for a town hall meeting?
They haven't scheduled any town hall meetings yet that I'm aware of.
Thought there may have been one for July 21st. Is what I heard. I don't know. I'm just asking.
I think that's their regular meeting. Town halls, yeah.
Mr. Settlemyre,
Possibility of a town hall meeting, but I haven't heard of any yet. 21st will be the regular.
Mr. Settlemyre, I think you told us in one of the emails you sent us that the meeting the commissioners had that night was a closed meeting. Is that what you understood?
Well, I think it was their regular meeting, and they had a closed session meeting at the end.
Okay. So,
I wasn't there at their meeting to know what they
know what-
discussed pre-closed meeting. I wouldn't know what they discussed in closed session.
of course, of course. So we don't know.
We don't know the details. Other than they're still looking at possible murder.
I was just curious as to what reason they used, because I assume, Ms. Davis, they have to have a reason for a closed session also, just as we do.
That's the law in the state of North Carolina. However, I don't know anything about that, and I don't represent the county.
Understand, I
Yeah.
was just curious as to
Yes.
what their reason was for closed session.
Any further questions that, with my limited knowledge that I can answer, I will be happy to.
I would hope that moving forward, we can be a little bit more transparent. I was getting phone calls the week before asking my opinion on the merger, and I knew nothing about the merger. We have not had any discussions up until last Saturday when I had received a phone call from a commissioner, just in general conversation. And I just think that we need to all be included in some conversations and just need more transparency so that we can make a good decision.
I agree. That was the reason I'd asked Mr. Settlemyre to include this update on the agenda tonight, because I think we were all a little bit caught unaware. I was certainly, and I thought we at least need to hear tonight, not that you're not being transparent, Mr. Settlemyre, but that we all need to hear the same information kind of at the same time, because a lot of my information was people calling me or social media, and that's all I knew.
Yes, I got the same phone calls and found out about the same time y'all did.
Was
Not
it?
happy about that, no, but
I understand. And just to clarify, I was not referring to you about the transparency. I think, we had a joint meeting a while back and nothing was even brought up. There was not any information even spoken during that meeting about a possible merger. And apparently, if it had been brewing at that time, that would have been a perfect opportunity. So I just hope, going forward that we can have some good conversations about their intentions.
My understanding is I think the county commissioners were their decision, even though we know we need to know more about the information. It's not our decision about the merger. It's the county commissioners and what they feel like the overall view. They may know more about the financial and the tenants as far as Newton Conover, as far as what they have. That's what I've understood from what I've seen. So I think that's the reason we haven't been told a lot about it. But I'm like you, Bo, just a heads up would have been good, but I understand.
Mr. Sigmund, I'm just curious, where did you get your information?
Well, it was from
Talk to him directly about this.
well, it's the information he sent me.
Is that something you can share with us as a board?
Well, he was just sharing about I just basically shared the
Your
financial.
microphone.
I'm sorry, the financial, part of it, and, about the lower, attendance in the schools, about them, losing students, and, it would be beneficial for them and Catawba County as far as financial part. Basically, is what he was saying.
And so he communicated directly with you
Well,
rather than our
with
chair?
a post that I seen, yeah.
Oh,
not to me, but
a post.
It was direct, it was his signature on the post and everything. I mean, it's stated it's from him. It wasn't somebody posting what he said. He posted it. So I assume then that part was, public.
you talking about his social media post he put?
Yes.
House, is that what you're
Yeah,
referring to?
about 4 or 5 paragraphs, I think
Right.
it was.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when I've gotten information from them, I have immediately shared it with y'all. If
Yeah.
I get it, I share it.
Right, I seen your post
So,
on
and
the email.
I think that what they've heard from, comments is that they have mishandled it a little bit. So hopefully when they get these town halls going, or if they do that, they let us know ahead of time so we can. They've been some missteps.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the magnitude of what they're dealing with, everybody's gonna comment, well, you know, we should handle it different or could have been. I'm glad I'm not in their shoes right now. So I know that's a big decision.
Definitely a couple things that bother people are taxes and their children. Is there any further discussion? Moving on to consent items. Dr. Stover?
Thank you, Chairman Settlemeyer. Members of the board, we do have our consent items in front of you, and we are asking for your approval this evening.
Having looked over the consent items, I need a motion and a second for approval.
I make a motion to approve the consent items for this evening.
I'll second that, and as part of the discussion, I would just like to make sure that that was the correct amount, that Matthew Sin donated $10,000 for school lunches
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. He's spoken to us in public comment several times, so he puts his money where his mouth is, doesn't he?
Yeah. It appears that way. I don't know how much money or how big his mouth is, but that's, yeah, it does.
We've both seen him, Dr. Stover. And I'm just very grateful to him and others who donate on such a generous amount, and I do second that motion.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, a show of hands for all in approval. That is unanimous. Next on the agenda is new business. Consideration of interim budget for 2025-2026 school year presented by Davis.
Chairman Settlemeyer, Dr. Stover, members of the board. So in looking back, it doesn't look like this has been an item for approval, but just maybe informational for the consideration of the interim budget. So as you all are probably aware, we do not have a state budget for next fiscal year, nor do we anticipate one anytime soon, unfortunately. That's become the norm. And so per general statute, we are required you are required as the Board of Education to make interim appropriations for the purpose of paying our normal expenses. So we want to make sure that in absence of a state budget, we are still able to keep the lights on and keep our employees paid, so they will come back. So I'm just presenting this information for you, again, as consideration for the interim budget. I do not believe it has been approved in the past. Oh, okay, so I'm sorry, I apologize. I am seeking approval for that then, for the consideration of the interim budget for the upcoming 2025-2026 fiscal year. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the interim budget as presented to us by our Chief Financial Officer.
I second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of an interim budget for 2025-2026 school year, show of hands for approval. Unanimous. Thank you. Ms. Davis?
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is approval of one-year quotes from Savas, a learning company, to purchase Vision Math Common Core for grades K-5 and 6 through 8 by Mr. Lee Miller.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Settlemeyer. Good evening, Board. Three things on the agenda tonight, and I would like to request, the first being, as Mr. Settlemeyer said, the Savas Envisions math curriculum. We've used Envisions for over 5 years in our district, 4 grades K-8. At one point, we did use it in high school, but high schools are now using really their own self-made curriculum resources. Not all of our schools use Envision. Some of them will be using the iReady toolkit. Some are using Into Math, but we still have some who are using Envisions and think that it does a good job providing the content for our standards. So the two quotes together, the K-5 and the 6-8 quote, add up to $119,568.60. The K-5 quote includes a mix of digital access and consumable materials, and the 6-8 quote is all digital resources. Any questions I can answer? And these resources are paid for out of textbook funds.
Mr. Miller, you may not be prepared to answer this tonight. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you know how many schools this number represents, or which schools? It'd be interesting to see how test scores are comparing between schools using this versus some other programs.
And Dr. Barnett, we did look at that because same thing for this current school year, we had schools using different resources, and we're really not able to see any difference between test scores of schools that use a particular resource over another.
Would it be possible to eventually get a list of which schools are using what
Yes, I'll send that to
resources?
the board in an email sometime tomorrow. That's okay.
For later? Thank you.
Other options, are they also Common Core? The other
So now,
state?
I say years ago, like, I'm that old, but probably 15 to 20 years ago, textbook companies were making materials designed specifically for state standards. However, now, because most schools have adopted the Common Core standards and textbook companies are not like they used to, we no longer purchase textbooks for all subjects. And so they've cut back on some of the things that they offer. So to answer your question, Ms. Underwood, yes, most resources you have are going to be Common Core. The Common Core was adopted fully in, I think it was 2012. North Carolina, we revised the Common Core standards in 2017. And when we revised it, we really revised it for Math 1, 2, and 3. We really didn't do revisions for K-8 math. Those standards still closely align to the Common Core state standards. And what that is, it's just more conceptual math than it was previously.
I was going to mention that I think in some of the classrooms, I think, aren't they able to use, like, they still have the Common Core standards, but they can also teach just like they have the option to teach like the traditional way of math as well as what's considered Common Core.
So really all of our math instruction is going to be based on the North Carolina standards. And again, that is closely tied to the Common Core, so it's going to be a lot of conceptual math. And the state standards are being rewritten, and they will be fully implemented not the coming school year, but in 26-27 school year, we'll have new state standards for math across the board. So really, and what we've said as a district, right or wrong, and I welcome your input or criticism, whatever you want to give, we've said we're going to hang on for one more year and let schools choose what they feel like works best for them, their teachers, and their students. And then in 26-27, look to be more aligned as a district for our math resources. And just so you know, because it does bother me that we're not aligned, really K-8, we just 2 weeks ago, we brought in some selected teachers that we used data to determine the teachers who have been the most successful as far as looking at growth. We brought them in and they designed a curriculum guide, if you will. So we took the things that we're using, materials that we're using in Catawba County, whether it's Envisions, the iReady toolkit, we're using Delta Math, which is basically a very low-cost resource, but it doesn't provide all the things that you need. But it's still a good resource some of our teachers like. Anyway, we took those resources and we aligned them with our state standards. So especially inexperienced teachers, they come in, they may be on a team that uses different resources. So now we have this resource that we've built that says when you're teaching this particular standard and you're using this resource, this is where you go to teach that standard. Here are the activities that are aligned directly to that state standard. Because again, I'm not happy that we have different resources, but we feel like, again, with the new standards coming on board in 26, 27, we need to do this for one more year. Let teachers choose what they feel like is best for their students. Again, I welcome comments and criticism for that, but we are trying to make sure that we hand them a resource that we've created that says, here's how that resource that you're using, here's where you go to teach that standard. Any other questions?
Can't tell from this quote then what the 75,000, what percentage of our students this is paying for, percentage of our schools, or
The quote
is covering?
does have the quantity that, yes. And I've got a spreadsheet that I will send to the board that breaks it down by school. Yes, ma'am.
Any further questions for Mr. Miller on the Savaz quote for?
We need
What were the totals together again? Were they?
the total for both K-5 and 6-8 is $119,568.60.
I seek a motion and approval, I'm sorry, a motion and a second for approval of the Savaz quote Mr. Miller just presented.
Make a motion for approval.
I second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. That's unanimous.
Thank you. The second request that I'm bringing to the board is for Formative. Formative is an online digital platform. It's designed to integrate daily instruction with formative assessment. The program allows teachers to receive real-time student data and allows them to adjust their instruction accordingly. Formative has over 20 activity types, including multiple choice, short answer, drag and drop, which those match the things that students are required to do on EOCs and EOGs. They are fully, the assessments in Formative are fully customizable. I went and looked, because we always want to make sure that the things we're spending money on are being used by our teachers and students. So I looked, and we had over 290,000 engagements with Formative this past year. I will say this is the second year that we've paid for this resource, and it's something I think a lot of our teachers really feel is useful and helps them, again, adjust instruction in real time because they can see if their students are understanding the content as it's being delivered. The cost for a year subscription is $55,754.50, and this will be paid for with AIG funds, the same as we paid for the last 2 years. I'm happy to answer any questions.
If we approve this, is this something at one of our next school visits we can see in action?
Absolutely.
Are there any more questions for Mr. Miller on the formative assessment license quote? Hearing none, I seek a motion and a second for approval of the purchase of formative assessment license.
I make a motion. We'll approve it.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. And the third and final thing we would like to request is the purchase of Spire reading program. Spire is specialized program individualizing reading excellence. And it addresses fluency, decoding. It serves students with more critical reading needs in our EC population. And it's more intensive than Letterland and Heggerty. And it contains consumable materials for students and also has a digital aspect for students that reinforces the lessons taught from the teacher. It's a comprehensive program for reading, and it also includes manipulatives that students can use. The cost of this program is $34,724.45, and it would be paid for with EC funds. Happy to answer any questions.
This is something else we can see in person when we go for our next visit.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions for Mr. Miller on Aspire quote? Hearing none, I look for a motion and a second for approval.
I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is approval of a one-year renewal quote from Soft Choice Corporate to purchase Microsoft licenses and hardware for students and staff, presented by Mr. Marty Sharp.
Board Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, come in front of you tonight to request approval for our Microsoft licensing. This is an annual license process that we go through each year. This is actually just for 1 year. We possibly expect some changes with numbers by next year, but this will get us through the remainder of the 25-26 school year. As you'll notice with the Microsoft licensing, it does break it down into a quantity of 1775. And hopefully you don't ask me how that is calculated, because Microsoft has some wild formula that is, I think it's full-time faculty, which are teachers, plus full-time faculty divided by 3, plus full-time staff, which would be everyone outside of teaching, times full-time. It's crazy. And so we work with HR each year to come up with this FTE, is what they call it. And it is 1775 total faculty and staff. And that includes all students within that. We don't have to pay for student licenses as long as we keep up to date with our staff and our faculty. We do budget this each year, as I mentioned. It is probably the largest purchase of services that we do each year. So we pre-plan this ahead every March, put it into our proposed budget for the next school year. We will be using technology funds to pay for this. And if there are any questions with the Microsoft license, it covers all servers, all Windows machines, all accounts. In fact, I will say most people don't realize when you're logging into your Chromebook through ClassLink, that's actually using Microsoft behind the scenes. So that's why we have to make sure that we are in compliance, since we do have 18,000 plus users on a daily basis. Any questions from the board?
Mr. Sharp, are multiple year discounts available, or would that not be good because of it changing?
Yeah, because of the change, we kind of held off on that this year. We've had a kind of an increase in some of our servers. And honestly, Microsoft changes their licensing periodically, and we're kind of expecting that to change within the next year. So that's why we kind of held on to this for at least 1 more year. No problem.
Further questions for Mr. Sharp? Hearing none, I seek approval. Motion and a second for soft choice for $117,502.35.
And I do hate to interrupt, but I will also mention, just being on the record, that this is from a state contract. I forgot to mention that as well. So sorry. My apologies.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the one-year renewal quote from Soft Choice Corporation for the Microsoft licenses that has been presented by Mr. Sharp.
Second that.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in approval, if you'll raise of hand. That's unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is approval of a three-year, 2025 to 2028 agreement between Catawba County Board of Education and the Counseling Group for EAP services, presented by Ms. Ray Thompson.
Good evening, Chairman Settlemeyer, members of the board, Dr. Stover. I bring for you this evening the renewal of our three-year contract with the Counseling Group for our Employee Assistance Program. We typically will run this July 1 through December 31st of 2028. So it would start July 1 this year and run through the December 31st of 2028. Sorry, yes, June 30th. Sorry, Crystal. I'm looking at the way we pay it. We pay this every 6 months. So July 1 to December 31st, and then January 1st through June 30th. It is $18 per employee. We pay for 1,924 employees. So the total for each year of the contract is $34,632. For the three-year term, it would be $103,896. That provides our employees their 6 free visits with the counseling group. That also provides free visits for their families, immediate family, spouse, children. They provide training for our administrators, and they also come on site when we have an injury, death of a student or a faculty member, to serve the staff members there as well, because our kids are covered through our school counselors. And I'm seeking approval for this contract, so I can gladly answer any questions you might have.
We know how many employees use this per year?
Yes, sir. So this year, this last 6 months, we had 137 employees who spent 545 hours. And that was the term of just this last 6 months.
I would just like to make a point also that, just from my principal hat, that this doesn't take away from employee hours. It's not during school hours. Usually any counseling that's needed is made on the employee's time after school or at times that they're not at work. So it's not taking away from instructional time,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
except maybe in traumatic cases.
Yes, ma'am. And we also use this service if we know that we've got an employee who's going through something and they need the counseling. Sometimes I will do a mandated referral where those folks have to attend. And that ensures that they're getting that support even when they feel like sometimes they don't necessarily need it. But we know that they do in order to support kids.
Any further questions for Ms. Thompson? Hearing none, I look for a motion and a second for approval of the EAP contract 2025 to 2028.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval shall raise their hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you.
Next, approval of construction change directives for summer maintenance projects. A is Claremont Elementary School HVAC, and B is Balls Creek Elementary School Pre-K, presented by Mr. Dan Moore.
Thank you, Chairman Saddlemeyer, members of the board, Dr. Stover. These are change orders. There are deduct values. If you remember, for Maiden Middle School, we pre-purchased the HVAC equipment. That way, every bidder had the number, the plug number, for them to make their bid. Similar in these two projects, we have pre-purchased this HVAC equipment that allows us to receive a substantial discount. The deduct value from the Claremont project is $454,718.39. Deduct value from the Balls Creek PK project is $82,791.04. In both of these situations, this value will be placed in general contingency for use if needed. We have pre-purchased this equipment for these projects, just as we did for Maiden Middle School. And I seek your approval, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Hearing no questions, seek approval of construction change directive for summer maintenance projects, A and B, presented by Mr. Dan Moore.
Motion we approve.
Second that.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion?
Just like to say thank you to the maintenance department for saving us the money.
Thank you.
All those in favor shall raise a hand. That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is approval of bid tabulation for re-roofing maintenance department storage building, presented by Mr. Dan Moore.
Thank you, Chairman Saddlemeyer. Members of the board, we had reached out to multiple bidders. We had two people actually bid this project. The apparent low bidder is Conover Roofing. In the total amount of $153,500, that's taking into consideration alternates 1, 2, and 3. Alternate 1 is that we use a 50 millimeter Duratough white PVC membrane rather than a metal roof. Our alternate 2 bid is for an upgrade to a 20-year, no dollar limit warranty. And our third alternate is some siding to be replaced on that barn. That houses quite a bit of items necessary for the maintenance department. There's quite a bit of equipment that's also under that barn, and that roof is beginning to fail. And so I would seek your approval for Conover Roofing in the amount of $153,500, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
This is located just over here on the property,
Yes, sir.
not the one next to the railroad track, but it's inside the fenced-in area.
Inside the fence.
Okay.
Adjacent to, as you're coming this way toward the bus garage. It needs it.
Used Conover Roofing in the past.
Oh, yes, sir. Multiple projects. Matter of fact, we've used all of these people for the most part. And it's tied pretty much to their schedule, what they've got going on, what they can take on.
If there are no further questions for Mr. Moore, I seek an approval for bid tabulation from Conover Roofing to replace the roof on the storage building for the maintenance department.
Make a motion that we approve for the roof repair.
I second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is approval of quotes for intercom replacement system at Catawba Elementary School presented by Mr. Dan Moore.
Thank you, Chairman Settlemeyer. Members of the board, we recently lost our intercom system and not physically lost it. It died at Catawba Elementary, and we need to get that replaced as quickly as possible. Two bids, the apparent low bidder is B&L Telephone at $54,967.91. We've used B&L for multiple projects, and I would seek your approval or would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
What's the life expectancy of something like this?
Well, that's a grand question. We've had units in the past that have been struck by lightning. I don't think we found evidence. Did we find? Can't really pinpoint it. Sometimes we can find scorched areas when you know that lightning caused you to lose it. Because this building is not very old, and we've already lost the intercom system. I would like to say 20 to 25 years, but with modern day electronics, it's hard to really know, to be truthful. But it's necessary, obviously, and we get these unfortunate surprises. Some we're able to predict they're on their last leg, they're not going to make it very much longer, and we have a plan to replace, but this one just popped on us, if you will.
I feel I'm taking one of Michelle's questions here, but what is the warranty on this?
Typically, everything is 1 year.
1 year? Okay.
Quite honestly, I don't know that I know that. But I know that most times things are for 1 year. Do we have any information with
Understood.
regard to that? We will find out.
If there are no further questions for Mr. Moore, I seek approval for intercom replacement system at Catawba Elementary School for $54,967.91.
A motion to approve.
I second that.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in approval, show a raise of hand.
Thank you.
That's unanimous, thank you. Next is approval of bid certification for repaving projects at Oxford Elementary School, St. Stephen's Elementary School, and Startown Elementary School, presented by Mr. Dan Moore.
Thank you, Chairman Settlemeyer. Members of the board, 3 projects. Oxford E, this is pretty much tied to the bus parking at that location. St. Stephen's is the front parking at that location, and Startown is basically the entire lot. It is failing. The apparent low bidder is Precision Paving. At Oxford Elementary, it was $79,060. At St. Stephen's Elementary, $133,121. And the combined bid at Startown Elementary School is $248,228, all by Precision Paving. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
They seem well below everybody else is there.
It's scheduled. Quite honestly, it's scheduled. When we reach out to our vendors, some people have a lot of work, and they'll throw a number at it, that if they get it, it's great. If they don't get it, they've got enough work. And so really, I think that's what we're experiencing here in this particular situation.
Precision Paving is a little bit, aren't they a smaller company than the other?
Yes. Yeah. And we've used Precision. We've used all of these people in the past, and we've been well pleased with their performance.
Moore, did you say what the alternate bid is for Startown? Did I miss that?
So Robert, I may have to lean on your expertise there.
you.
Any further questions on the repaving projects for Oxford Elementary, St. Stephen's, and Startown Elementary? Hearing none, I seek a motion and a second for approval of bid certification for repaving projects at Oxford Elementary School, St. Stephen's Elementary School, and Startown Elementary School.
I make a motion that we approve.
I second.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I just wanted to ask one question. I don't know if you did say, but how long did you say that it would take to get that completed? Or when is it expected?
They'll be able to do it this summer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they have openings in their schedule that will allow them to take this on. It'll be ready by the time school starts.
Is it gonna work good at St. Stephen's with the mobiles coming in and?
And we want to get that done as quickly as possible. We have designs perhaps to do the back after we get the mobiles set, if they're done quickly enough. If you go to that back parking lot, it's beginning to fail as well. But we want to make sure that we get that mobile set and all that weight distributed before we attack that, if you will. So yes, it will not be a factor. We won't drive over any new pavement, cause any deterioration of that.
So I've had a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, show of hands for approval. That's unanimous. Thank you. Next is approval of contract agreement between Catawba County Board of Education and Holland Hamrick Architects for new HVAC system at Maiden Middle School, presented by Mr. Dan Moore.
Thank you, Chairman. So, our members of the board, if you recall, we've completed our agreement with the vendor, DDI, but this is the owner-architect agreement for that same project at Maiden Middle School with that HVAC replacement. And I would seek your approval of this document. We've worked many times with Holland and Hamrick, and we've been very pleased with their attention to detail and the work that they provided this district. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have as well. I've been very pleased, and I think Robert could speak to that as well. I'm just amazed at how quickly they've attacked that project and progressed. They've thrown a lot of people at it, I think is the best way you can say it. And that project's moving along very well. Very pleased.
Any further questions for Mr. Moore on the contract agreement between Catawba County Board of Education and Holland and Hamrick for a new HVAC system at Maiden Middle School?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the owner-contractor agreement between our board and Holland and Hamrick for the HVAC system at Maiden Middle School.
I second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you. So this is with Mobile Modular, who we are contracting for the lease agreement at Balls Creek Elementary School, the 4-pack modular, as well as St. Stephen's Elementary, as well as Gerald's Ford Elementary. This is an additional ramp. If you think of the rear of that school, there's a hallway that exists between the cafeteria and the gym. And to be able to provide those students access, ADA access, you have one door that comes off that hallway that more or less is a straight path to our new modular unit. But it's currently just stair steps, and we need to have that be ADA approved ramp. This is what Mobile Modular does, and they will do this for us. This, I think we're purchasing these, right, Robert? We are purchasing this rather than leasing this. Because we feel that that ramp's going to be there for a while. Those mobiles are going to be there for a while. And this will provide ADA access to that area. So this is just a point of information and an additional expense that will be part of our agreement with Mobile Modular. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about that.
Falls Creek is the only school that needs it.
Yes, ma'am. Based on location of the unit, St. Stephen's, where it will be located, other than the normal ramps that they have, nothing additional at that location. Yes, ma'am. It's aluminum. Yes, sir. It's the same ramp system that they have at the current Carroll's Ford site. It's a very tight area. We looked at constructing our own. There's a lot of electrical feeds that are underground there. There's a lot of water underground there with regard to pipes, sewer, water supply. So this will actually be on top of the ground on pads. So we won't have to dig or create any other hardship there at that site.
Any further questions for Mr. Moore? Hearing none, I seek an approval for ADA ramp access for modular unit at Balls Creek Elementary School for $31,300.
Motion approved.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise a hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 13 is moved to post-closed sessions if required. Brings up number 14, input and discussion on completion dates for board goals and action steps for board members. Start this since myself and Miss Underwood are on the subcommittee for the development of a handbook. I think it'd be important to get the rest of the goals set so we know what goes into the handbook. Handbook, I think, will be one of the last goals completed. On to goal 2, Ms. Teague. Have a time frame that you think you could have us some standards set here for training? Well, now we currently require 12 hours for every other year for our board now. I just kind of wanted you to look at that and see if we needed more. But then the next goal is to complete some training, so that's possible that we could just add those numbers to the 12 we're already getting. Think that would be satisfactory, or the other board members think that would be satisfactory, we can do that. We could add 15 hours every other year to it, and these goal 3 would be at least 4 hours every year.
Okay, so you're asking me, you want me to review training? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am, for board members.
Okay, that's fine.
Chairman, one of the things it says is to examine our current policy. I think that would be the first step, to take a look at what it is and see what we think about it.
Yes, ma'am, and that is, I think it's set at 12 hours every other year. Requirement that we've adopted, okay.
This board has never gone beyond the state requirement, in my experience.
Thank you.
Okay, so, I mean, I can use the timeline that you have on.
Originally, we had chosen like a work session, and we may just want to do it again at a work session. Or I'm at a work session.
Yeah. And I wanted to go, had mentioned that I would like to be added to that subcommittee, if possible, for the handbook.
Okay. And let's move to goal 3, board operations, performance, training, video, discuss it at board each annual work session. I think here we will just, chairperson will make a suggestion at the August meeting for the September work session of a video for the board to watch and discuss at the work session. Same thing for September, January, and February. If that works for everyone.
So we're saying that we're just gonna go ahead and we're not gonna watch a video during the work session. We're just gonna watch the video ahead of time.
Yes, ma'am, we will watch the video and then we will discuss it for sake of saving time.
Clarify that.
Point of clarification, thank you. And goal 4, Clayton, setting up training on parliamentary procedure and Robert's Rules of Order, which
Mr. Chairman, the North Carolina School Board Association offers in their training a video presentation with a paper copy as well. Guess it'd be at the pleasure of the board if we want to watch that together during a work session or do it prior. I'm good either way. The only other part I was going to get board clarification on if we wanted to try to find somebody that has expertise in that to come in. Only area that I needed some direction.
okay, we've heard Mr. Mullis talk about watching a video either beforehand at the working session or having someone come in and do a training on Robert's Rule of Order. What would be the wish of the rest of the board?
I'd just like to comment that I watched, and probably a lot of you have too, the one that's on the North Carolina School Boards Association video library, and it's good, but it gets in depth. And I just think it would be good if we could have someone come and so we could interact and ask questions, because you know how those video presentations are. You can't, I mean, we could email and wait for an email to come back, but other than that, we couldn't interact and get questions answered or direction given directly to us. I'd like to suggest that we try to get someone in person. We probably have someone on staff who could do that for us.
We want to look to have that in September or October.
Well, September, we'll probably just so you have training.
Would September work for everyone? Are you gonna find a person to do the training, or do we need? Debbie
I'll,
to-
yeah, I'll just offer my opinion. Robert's Rules of Order, there are certified parliamentarians, okay? And if you found anybody apart from the North Carolina School Boards Association, then my recommendation would be to find someone who is a certified parliamentarian, which means they are certificated. I have known of a few, I'll be quite honest, that have been very good, but I'm getting old and I'm not sure if they're still doing that kind of thing in this community. in addition, you can also have someone from the North Carolina School Boards Association conduct the same training at one of our meetings to maybe reduce expenses. I'm sure they will come here. They're always very helpful. But they can also do sort of a Zoom type situation, although that's not as personal. But my recommendation would be to start there. And I understand what Dr. Barnett's saying, that it's very beneficial to have somebody who is in person so that you can interact. It's completely up to you guys, but my recommendation would be to go with somebody from the North Carolina School Boards Association. And then they would also have the ability to look at our policy and acknowledge any exceptions that we have, and so our policies.
I think that's a good suggestion, and I think maybe we ought to at least start there, and Mr. Mullis can see what the cost or what's availability there is. And then we can
used to have,
decide.
yeah, I see them now. There's a little laminated sheet also that at your table. That's
We also received a book several years
Yes.
ago that would be great. We maybe could do a book study. I
yeah,
don't know.
exactly. I mean, those books are very abbreviated at times, but the general principles, what I think Mr. Taylor was quite well versed with it. I think y'all remember, but there's sort of a, I guess you could say a basic nutshell of what I think is very beneficial to the board, what you need to know. It does get complicated, but you also have to use common sense with it. So, and I'll be happy to help in any way I can.
Debbie, could you work with Clayton on certified parliamentarian? Okay, so goal number 5, I think start trying to do this in July, marking things on the agenda that are board goals. Next one would be in the mental health support in schools. Dr. Barnett and Ms. Underwood. Okay, thank you both. Goal number 7, David Goforth and Mr. Sigmund.
Well, it says here, use school visits already scheduled. I believe that would be a good plan unless Dr. Stover sees the need to change, because it's going to depend on a lot of his scheduling and the principals and teachers.
Mr. Settlemyer, you yourself tonight mentioned several things that you had said, can we see that as we go out to schools? I think that's exactly the way that should work.
Could be visual things that we'd be able to see and
Right, so my suggestion there is for kind of just continue the calendar that was set up. Already, last board visited some, y'all.
What we can do too is make note of the things we've brought to you for approval, and then we'll specifically point those out while we're out. And that way you can see them in action. And then if there's anything we know that's upcoming, we'll try to get ahead of it too, to try to show you what might be upcoming. And we'll just have a list of things that we can kind of work through as we walk through, and make note of it as we go, so y'all can have a better idea of what it is. And it's a great idea.
Goal number 8's on me. Make the board regarding district professional development on curriculum and instruction programs and training, so board members may attend if they wish. I believe you've got a spreadsheet set up. Accurate. Professional development training. Professional development training.
Yes, we actually looked at them all.
Oh. Okay. Goal number 9, advance notice given to board regarding curriculum quotes, renewals for materials, license and program renewals are needed to become more familiar with what is presented requested. So, how much time would the board like to have to, review stuff? Instruction needs, I guess, out here.
I think that goal would fit nicely with Goal 7, that as we're out in schools observing programs, that as different directors and assistant superintendents are aware of things that are coming up, that they're going to be bringing up before us, as Dr. Stover said, trying to get ahead of anything that we know is coming up. I think those could work together.
I think so as well. Yeah, you can consolidate 9 and 7. 10, staff provide informational sessions during work sessions to educate Board of Education regarding curriculum initiatives that will be addressed and or approved in future board meetings. We'll just set that up for work sessions. Certainly. Okay. Right. Goal here. Quotes
Got a
for renewal.
spreadsheet of times and
Advance notice given to board regarding curriculum quotes for renewals for materials, license, and program renewals are needed to become more familiar with what is being presented. Requested.
Like, what would you think, a month before?
What would y'all require? I mean, how far in advance could we get notice?
We have those funds. We have a quote right now that
What about whenever they know that they're gonna want to present the quote, like whenever they're ready, like he's saying that he has to have more research. So as soon as he understands or knows that he's gonna be ready for that, maybe we could get it at that time, whenever it can be sent out to our board. Does that make sense?
It does. Is that something you could do, Mr. Miller? Okay. Thank you. Questions? Yes.
In the work session in September. If you're okay with that, are you?
Yes.
Same thing. So you and, Dr. Barnett are gonna meet with Ms. Ballard and then present in September at our work session.
I want to clarify who's setting that up. I'm just thinking of the practical. Is that going to be set up through Ms. Wetzel or?
When I've met with Maria before, I've just done it, communicated with her
Okay, I
myself.
just wanted to make sure y'all had an avenue. Yeah.
So you and Ms. Barnett, or, I'm sorry, Dr. Barnett are gonna meet. Thank you. Number 11, finalize work on posting online searchable board policies accessible to all constituents.
Yeah, we are ready to contract with the North Carolina School Boards Association to make those searchable. I can't remember what their cost is, but they do have a contract, and my intention is to bring that in July. I'm going to go ahead and call Christine Sheaf with the North Carolina School Boards Association, and I'll let you know as soon as how long they think they'll need to convert it. One thing that was brought to my attention tonight, and I did not know this until tonight, is that I think our new website will not allow for PDFs. I didn't know that until tonight. So that's an issue. Yeah, I understand. But that's an issue because all of ours are in the form of PDFs. We have them in Word, but so I'll need to talk with Ms. Jordan, and I'm sure North Carolina School Board Association can let me know approximately how long it'll take to convert everything. Yeah, I'm sure they do. But I'll send you all notice about that.
Okay, goal number 12, communicate and respond to the board as a whole. Is there anybody having issues here that talk about? I've had a slip or two here or there trying to communicate everything that for information I've received once or twice. I think I've done a fair job here of trying to get everything on. If there's something we need to work on here, please let me know and we will work on it. All right, hearing nothing. Goal 13, add a highlight section in the monthly district newsletter, which has been happening and will continue to happen. As long as reminder email. Yep. Anything else on the goals that we need to discuss? We need to vote on these?
We perhaps wait until Ms. Wetzel updates it for us if that's something she's got notes
I
to do.
think that's
and-
perfect. That's what I was saying. It's more of a record keeping type thing. Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea to me. Thank you. And do we have a need for closed session?
Yes, and the reasons are attorney-client privilege, information, and I don't know, do you have any personnel matters? For the, yeah, so personnel also.
Okay, hearing that, I need a motion to go into closed session with a turn time of 7:45.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to enter into closed session. After a break at 7:45, we will go into closed session. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in approval, raise of hand. That's unanimous. Thank you. We'll begin closed session at 7:45. Okay, I will need to be recused from voting on, Dr. Bethany Settlemeyer for principal at Catawba Elementary School.
I make a motion to recuse Tim from voting for Bethany Settlemire.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion on, recusing myself from voting for Dr. Bethany Settlemeyer? Hearing none, all those in favor? That's unanimous? Okay, I need to, have a motion and a second to vote for, approve Bethany Settlemeyer, principal at Catawba Elementary School.
The motion to approve Bethany Settlemire as principal of Catawba Elementary School.
Second that.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, show of hand. That is unanimous by all able members to vote. Now I seek a motion for all other personnel recommendations other than Bethany Settlemeyer. Approval.
I make a motion to approve all the other recommendations.
Heard a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor shall raise of hand. That's unanimous. Thank you. Didn't need to do number 13 after the meeting because we're going to make adjustments. Okay, look for a motion and a second to adjourn the Catawba County Board of Education for June 23rd, 2025.
The motion to adjourn.
I've heard a motion to second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.